Lisa from Critters'n Designs in Ontario, Canada. Today, I'm going to move into part 2 of our inked and tiled series that we started last week, and do some more cards with that. But first, I just want to get into a couple of things. The end of the month is coming tomorrow, as a matter of fact, and there are two things that I just want to make sure that I get out there. One of them is our starter kit for this quarter is a very good deal. You get to choose anything in anything active, like the online store or the current catalog. $206 worth of product, that's Canadian, for $135. And this promotion ends tomorrow. So if you think that that's something that interests you, let me know. You can join our team, the Critters'n Creativity. And being a demonstrator doesn't mean that you have to do videos or hold parties or do classes or anything. All it means, really, is that you get a 20% discount on any of your products. And out of my whole team, probably 2% of them are active demonstrators. The rest of them just stay demonstrators so that they can get their 20% discount. Yeah, so this promotion ends tomorrow, the 30th of June. And the other thing I just wanted to remind you is that the designer series paper sale, oh, there's that glare right at my window. The designer series paper sale, which you will see on my website, ends tomorrow as well. And it's 15% off of select designer series papers, and that includes the online only store as well. So, you know, check it out if you want to get some of this paper before it goes back to regular price. Check it out. All right, so last time, let me switch down to my desk here. So last week we did a couple of cards, and so we have some little note cards that we did using the inked and tiled bundle. And the bundle consists of this stamp set plus 2 punches. So you have the X punch and the star punch, and really versatile. And like I said last week, this bundle didn't jump out at me. It wasn't something that called my name. But now that I've started playing with it, I've made so many different things with it. It's just great. I just love it. So I did a couple of note cards, and then I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do just a regular size card with the bundle, and it worked out great. You know, so if you don't have any of the note cards, just do it on regular cardstock. So that was our first card that we did. And then this was the second card that we did with the little pop-up background with the thank you on there. And these brass butterflies. Ugh, I love these guys. So that was card number 2. So let's switch over to page 94 is where you're going to find this bundle. And again, too, this designer series paper is also on sale today for 15% off. And it's normally $17, and this is a 6x6 paper, and it's $14.75 or something like that on sale. Oh, I'll tell you, it's $14.45 on sale. So let's do this one first. So I've done a bunch of sample. I just loved this card so much. I did it in all different colors. So there we have it in Fresh Fuchsia, and then Bubble Bath. And this one is Petal Pink. It looks really orange here, but it's actually Petal Pink. And then Fresh Fuchsia again with a different paper. Now this paper is retired, but you know what? This is great. Just go through all your little leftover papers and just punch out designs to, you know, till you can't punch anymore. And then you just have a whole pile of cards. So to do that, what I need is, sample that I cut out is Bubble Bath. So I've got my base card is 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it at 4.25. So this is going to be our base, card base. And then you're also going to need a piece of matching cardstock, whichever you're using. thought I'd remember this, but I didn't. So 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And then I just have a piece of scrap designer series paper. And this designer series paper is from the Delightfully Eclectic grouping. And this is a really large package of paper, which actually also matches the inked and tiled punches. So these designs will actually punch out with the punch, the X's and this little flower thing as well. So that's nice. So anyway, I used just a strip of paper from there, and I really liked this little floral. I thought it went really well with the bubble bath paper. And then for the inside, of course, you need a piece of basic white, which is 4 by 5 1/4. Excuse me. So to make our front, first thing we're going to do is just randomly stamp some of our flower. I'm going to take my larger block. This is an I block. And then my leaf, I'm going to put on a D block. Okay, and then I have my little tiny one, which I'm going to put on an A block. Now, these blocks, it's very nice to have blocks that are the same size as your stamp, and it seems to eliminate a lot of that rocking, you know, where you get the shadow and things like that. So every so often, you know, if you have a little bit of extra money in your budget for the month, pop another block on your order, and then you know, you'll have a set. I have 2 full sets of blocks and about 4 or 5 of these D blocks, because that seems to be the one that I use the most. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to just grab a piece of scrap here, because I'm going to be stamping off, and heaven knows I have enough ink on here already. So let me just go ahead and stamp. And I'm just doing color on color because I want it to be very subtle. I'm just going to pop this on here. And I'll do another leaf maybe coming down the side. And a few of these little, I don't know what they are, little starburst kind of things. Very cute. All right, so we'll put this aside for now. We're going to use the ink again and move these out of the way so that we don't get ink on anything. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to run this little piece of paper through my Time Worn Type embossing folder. And it's important to do your stamping first, because if you try to stamp this once it's all crinkled and embossed, you won't get a very good stamp, but this will give you a really nice two-tone look. All right, so I'm just going to run it through my Stamp and Emboss machine, and there, that is so easy. Isn't that just so pretty? All right, so the next thing I need is my little floral designs. So I want 3 of the X's and 1 of the star ones. So here are my X's. Now I showed you in the first video, but to open these, they come like this, and to open it, you just push on this little button away from you, and it opens up. So I'm going to cut out 3 of these. Is that right? Yeah, 3 of these. So 1, 2, 3. And 1 of the star. All right. I'm going to put this up on dimensionals. And then we'll adhere the little. So I'm just going to center this right here. And then these are going to just get glued this way. And because the flowers are directional, I made sure that when I cut them out, they were facing up. If that's not important to you, then, or if you're using something that isn't directional, then that's fine too. But, so I'm just going to put some glue on the two tips because I want it to sort of hang off the card a little bit. And then this one, just a couple little dots here. I'll put that one, and I'm putting this one right at the edge of the embossed piece. And then this one, I want it to stand up. Where will I put that? Maybe off center just a little. But I only want glue on the bottom part of this one. And I'm just going to pop that up like that. And I want the crisscross part to be even with the top of the card. So there, oh, I forgot this guy. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to put glue on one side here because I want it off of the raised area just a smidgen too. And squeeze him up a little. There we are. So cute. Okay, so now I'm going to take a piece of basic white scrap, of which I have lots. And I'm going to take my bubble bath again. All right, so I'm going to take just a note because I need some for my thank you cards for this month. And I'm just going to stamp it in the corner. And you can see I got a little shadow there, which drives me crazy right there. However, we're going to use the punch to punch it out, so I'm not too worried about that. So I'm going to take my cross punch, and I'm just going to run my paper in on a diagonal like that, and I'm going to line it up so that it's straight. Give it a pop. And then just take my snips and clean up those little edges that I don't need. There we are. So easy. I'm going to put those on dimensionals. And I'm just wondering if it wouldn't be prudent to put some white baker's twine on there. There's a little thing of white baker's twine. I'm going to have to grab another one pretty soon. So I'm going to just make like a little circle of twine, just a couple of times around my finger. And I'm going to place it here. Now this is totally optional. You don't have to do this if you don't want. And then I'm going to pop my greeting right over that. Like this. I think that's a little heavy. I think I'm going to take one circle off. Maybe just a little less. Yeah, I think I like that better. And there's our little note. So I have I have very few of these left. I have to reorder. The iridescent pearls. I think of all of the embellishments that we have right now, these are one of my favorites. All right, so I'm just using my take your pick tool, and I'm just going to put a few of these little iridescent pearls around. Put that one there. Isn't that cute? Now on the inside, don't go far you guys because I'm going to need you again. All right, so on the inside we have our 4x5 1/4 piece of basic white, and I'm just going to pop a partial flower. So I'm just going to ink up the top part of this flower, and I'm just going to pop it in the corner like this. I'm going to press down, lift it, and then press again, and you just get barely a little shadow of the second flower. So that's the inside of our card, and that is going to go into the inside. And you could stamp sentiment in here if you wanted to, but I tend to just write little notes, little hand notes to, you know, whoever's receiving the card. And then for our envelope, I thought what I might do is take a piece of this designer series paper, and I'm going to cut a piece that is 2.5 by 6. So now I want my flowers to be going obviously horizontally. So I'm going to cut my 6-inch piece this way. And then I can get quite a few envelope flaps this way. And I'm just going to measure to double check the flap. I'm pretty sure it's 2.25, but why tempt fate? Yeah, it's 2.25. I'm going to cut this at 2.5. Just to be safe. So 2.5. And this is so easily done. When I go to card swaps on, sometimes we have a group card night once a month. All right, so now I've got my flowers facing the right way, and I'm just going to line it up with the fold of my envelope here. And there we are. And now I'm just going to trim away anything that isn't card flaps. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that away. I just find this is such a pretty way of decorating your envelopes. There we are. So there's the back of that envelope. And I think I'm just addicted to this little flower. I'm going to go ahead and stamp on the front of the envelope as well. And I'm just going to pop that flower right there. This card is complete. So there's our decorated envelope and our card. So card number 1 is done. So we'll put that in the pile with the other cards that we've finished. Okay, so for our next card, we're going to be doing this one. And I'm using a Daffodil Delight card base with crushed curry X's that I've just stamped out. And then we have a piece of basic white that is, so 2.5 by 4. So here are our pieces. Just put that there. And here's our card base. So this time we're going to be doing it landscape style, but it's still 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. But this time we're going to open it this way instead of this way. Okay. So I've got my 4 by 5.25 piece of Daffodil Delight. I have a 4 by 5.25 piece of basic white for the inside, and then this piece, honest to Pete, I forget what it is, 4 by 2.5. Okay, so what we're going to need is I'm going to punch out 12 of the little X's. Okay, and we're going to line them up at the top of our card here. And I'm just going to, it's 5.25 wide, so it's 5.25. So 2 5/8 is half. So I'm just going to make a little mark at 2 5/8. And that is so that I can center. Now I could eyeball it, but No. So that one's going to go there. These two are going to go here. And then I've cut 2 in half, and they're going to go, one piece is going to go here. And one piece is going to go here. So that's the first row. So let's go ahead and glue our first row down. And I'm lining up the top of the X with the edge of this mat, of this Daffodil Delight. And we'll do the other side. And we'll put that one there. And I'm going to do my middle, actually I'm going to do my middle one. And have that one centered. And then these two guys will go. And if I do it this way, then I can, you know, try and sort of equalize the spaces in between the X's. And that way I know that they're going to be pretty even. All right, I will do the same thing on the bottom. I thought I had cut 2, but apparently I didn't. When I first saw this card, I was like, oh, you know what? That doesn't really do it for me. But having made a couple, and I did this in my class on Tuesday night, and it was a lot of fun. The ladies really enjoyed it. I think they did. And you wouldn't have to do it in Daffodil Delight and Crushed Curry. Certainly you could do it with Fresh Freesia and Gorgeous Grape, or you could use, any number of combinations. Calypso Coral and, I don't know what goes with Calypso Coral. Bubble Bath. Yeah, you could put a bunch of colors together and see what combo you like and just go crazy. Love it. Okay, so now this can go on dimensionals onto our card base. All right, and I'm just gonna center that right there. There, so cute. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is, I forgot my markers. Let me grab my markers. So I'm using my Stampin' Write markers on my stamps. So let me clean them from the last card. And you can do this on any stamps. Just make sure they're very clean. And I'm going to color the top of the flower with the brush side of my Stampin' Write markers. So I'm just going to use the side of the brush part, and I'm just going to come down onto the stamp itself. I haven't ordered the new in colors yet. Every time I send in an order, I think, oh crap, I forgot to put those markers on there. So I'll have to get that. Make an actual wish list. I'm using Garden Green, same thing. I'm just using the edge of the brush. And I'm not pressing hard. I don't want to damage my brush tip. But I do want to get the ink onto the stamp. And I can do this without getting my 2 colors of ink to touch. I was doing a private class with a new customer yesterday. She's a fairly new stamper. And when I showed her this technique, she was like, couldn't believe it. So cool. All right, so let me grab my scrap of paper again. And I've got my little 2.5 by 4 piece. Now I'm just gonna breathe on it, and the humidity from my breath is going to rehydrate this ink. And then I'm just going to stamp my flower. And there it is. Isn't that amazing? I love this technique. Love, love, love it. All right, this piece is going to go right onto my card. And you could put it up on dimensionals, but I think if you're going to be mailing it, you want to be careful how much dimension you put on your cards, because if it's over a certain height or thickness, then they charge extra postage. So I'm just going to glue this. And I'm going to pop it sort of in the far right third of my card. And then for this sentiment, again, I'm going to use just a note, but I'm going to clean it because I have it in pink still. And this time we're going to heat emboss it in white on a piece of boho blue. So I've got my little scrap of boho blue here. And I have my embossing stuff here. So I've got my embossing buddy. Now you'll find this embossing kit in the annual catalog. So I need my embossing buddy, and what the embossing buddy does is it stops the embossing powder from sticking to fingerprints. You know, your fingers are oily, or to, you know, the static. You might have static in your home. This eliminates the embossing powders from sticking to somewhere that you don't want it to. So I'm using Versamark ink, and Versamark is a clear, slow drying sticky ink, and you can use it for many things, but it's super for embossing. So once again, I'm going to just stamp in the bottom right corner of my note card here, and I'm using boho blue. And then I'm just going to take, oh, that's clear, I want white. And our embossing powders come in these little tubs, and you get, in the basics, you get white, black, and clear. And then there's a metallic one as well with gold, silver, and copper, I think. All right, so I'm just gonna sprinkle my embossing powder on there. And I did manage to get a little bit of extraneous ink there. So I'm just gonna take my brush and get rid of that because I don't want that to emboss. Okay, get this out of the way, grab my heat tool. And I'm just going to apply heat to this powder. Just zoom in a little. And you can see when it goes from a powdery white to shiny, you know it's done. There we go. Okay, and the same thing as I did before, I'm going to take my cross punch and I'm going to line up my words and center it in the punch. Make sure it's straight. And then I'm just going to trim away what I don't want. Okay, and this I am going to put on dimensionals. I'll just flip it over and grab a couple of dimensionals. And then last but not least, let me pop this onto here. I'm going to take some of the linen thread and I'm just going to double it and make a double bow. Because I did a double bow on this one and I really liked it. So I'll go ahead and just fold over about, I don't know, 6 inches or so, and I'm just going to tie a double bow. So here's my double bow. Just going to cut that loop and then these 2 strings here. And there we have our double bow. So glue dots here. And I'm just going to take a glue dot and I'm going to fold it in half and pop it under my bow. And just pop it right in my card there. There we go. And of course, no card is complete without bling. And I think for this one, I'm going to use my brass butterflies. I just love these brass butterflies. So I'm just going to pop one here. And I kind of feel like it makes this more, yeah, that's better, more, I don't know, it just seems to go with these X's. And I'll put a large one. I don't know, here. There. Isn't that adorable? So cute. So on the inside of the card, I've got my 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to do basically the same thing that I did here. So let me grab my stamp again and my Calypso Coral. And again, you don't want to push really hard on this brush. You just want it to just transfer the ink, because you don't want to damage your tip, because if you go to do some drawing with it or some coloring later and the tip is damaged, you'll have to replace the whole set or use a different green, because you can't just buy individual colors when it comes to the Stampin' Write markers. They come in like groupings. Okay, so now we're doing it, good thing I just checked, we're doing it horizontally, so make sure I've got my paper underneath, and I just want it kind of in the corner here, so. And there's our flower for the inside, and I'm just going to glue it in there. And there's card number 2. Okay, and for an envelope, what will we put on the envelope? Let's see. I'm going to try, I hope this works, it may or may not. I'm going to just rehuff this one and see if I can get like a second generation out of it. Let's see. I did. So there you go. So there's the outside of my card. Isn't that great? Or my envelope, I mean. So that's 2 cards down. And I think we'll do this 3rd card in part 3. I've got 2 more cards, so why don't we do part 3? So let's recap what we've done so far. We have, let's see. Grab all of the cards that we've made to date. All right, so far we've done our little note cards. So we have a couple of those that we've done, and we did the one in the full size. Now I haven't put anything on the inside yet, but I will. And then the next one we did last week was this one with the inked botanicals paper, which I just love. And we did a couple of those and the envelope. And then we have this one that we did today with the bubble bath. Very, very cute. And here it is again in Fresh Freesia, Petal Pink, and another bubble bath. So very cute. And then of course, our Daffodil Delight and Crushed Curry that we did. So here are what we have so far. We have 4 cards. And our next ones we'll do are the last 2 that are in the catalog. And one of them is a 3x6 note card. And I'll show you how to do this envelope. And then we have this one again using the Inked Botanicals Designer Series paper. Now once again, don't forget that the Designer Series paper sale ends tomorrow on June the 30th. So please subscribe if you aren't already a subscriber, and don't forget to hit the like button. And I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for joining me today. Bye for now.